Adventurous kids explore with education and learning what a wildlife is in the Everglades. I want to explore the Museum of Discovering Science. What plants do butterflies like? I want to know about Key West. Adventurous kids, learning and fun. Adventurous kids!
Welcome to the Jungle Queen. Let's go upstairs. Isn't this a beautiful view? The Jungle Queen is the oldest running attraction in Fort Lauderdale. That's good. I really like looking at the yachts. Woohoo! This is gonna be amazing. Look at the birds on this scene. This is the wheel. This is the very front of the boat. Did you see that cute little bird? I can't wait for the boat to begin sailing. Bon voyage, adventurous kids!
Pleasant good afternoon. Welcome aboard, folks. This is the world famous Jungle Queen, and we are getting on our way at this time. We're going to take you on a 90-minute cruise. That's an hour and a half through Fort Lauderdale's beautiful waterways, known as the Venice of America. As we get started, let's do some safety announcements real quick. As you folks are sitting comfortably in your chairs, look up towards the ceiling. Have these lovely orange blocky things above your heads. What are those called? Life jackets. We have not had to use the life jackets yet. How about a quick round of applause for that? That's a... Woo! It's an incredible safety record. It feels like we're tempting fate just discussing it right now. But anyway, creates the next problem since we never had to use them. Those are the same life jackets from 1935. I mean, they're like brand new. You've never been in the water, never been wet. No, I'm kidding. We're regularly inspected by the Coast Guard. It's funny, on each Coast Guard inspection, they'll come in. They don't make you change all 400, but they go like, okay, you gotta buy... at 35, you know, and so there they are up front. So those are the, you can see those are brand spanking new. They still have the tags on them. But what it is over a long period of time, you do actually, you have new ones on the boat, you have ones on the boats that are fine. You get the idea. Those are your, thank you. Those are your emergency exits. Know where your closest exit is located. Know if you are seated in an exit row. Here's a for downstairs. Try to get your trash into the receptacles so it doesn't blow into the water. Thank you for helping us keep the waterways clean. And let's do some introductions all around. First off, upstairs driving this beast of a boat. This mixed drinks. Here's what I'm hooked on today because this is a hot one. This orange Gatorade is delicious. Oh my God. 1917, and earlier than 1917, there was actually no bridge in Fort Lauderdale that connected the mainland in front of us with the barrier island offshore behind us. So you can pretty much say in 1905, you know what was on the beach? Sand and coconut trees. That's it. No, nothing else. No development. Then they built the bridge and they connected it downtown to this road called Sagamore.
Look at those houses.
Looking to your right, look at the
yacht,
ginormous house. It's got a big white yacht there in front of it. There's a big house there behind it that's called La Maison de Papillon, translated from French, the House of Butterflies. Were moved in. That means that's an investment property. He bought that to flip it later on. And while he's waiting to flip it, he's offered to rent that house out to anyone for 2
This particular tour is an hour and a half.
We're looking at Michael Maroney, and if you lived in Fort Lauderdale in the 90s, you remember Mike Maroney owned every car dealership in town. The Maroney Ford, Maroney Chevy. He was best known for his commercials that ran on TV every 15 minutes. Move again, just look. 2 white houses next door to each other. One of these houses was used in several episodes of Miami Vice. I'm not going to tell you which one it is. And you're going, is it the one with the statues? Of course it is. He is single. He has no wife. He has no girlfriend. How do I know this? Because right in the middle of his living room, he's got a motorcycle. And when you walk into someone's house and you see that, yeah, you pretty much guess. Yeah. Downtown Fort Lauderdale skyline. Not too much about me. I moved here from Virginia in 1993, so about 30 years ago. And when I moved here, their skyline looked like this. Is like bookend. So we had a tall building here. It was like we had this building and we had that building. That was a joke of a skyline. And I've watched them fill in the gaps between those 2 tall buildings, bustleless aisles. And this was where the working class of Fort Lauderdale lived when the city was being built. So these were your drywall hangers, your roofers, your road pavers, that sort of thing. Family, and you're supposed to go, oh, so this was built for members of the Vanderbilt family. Oh, yeah, the Vanderbilts. Oh, yeah, exactly. That's the correct O sound. Oh, yeah, Vanderbilt pretty much squandered their fortune by 19. Here with the 2 silver boats alongside. Who lives there? That's an actual drug dealer. His name is Bruce Paddock. He had a company in Minnesota called Paddock Pharmaceuticals. Now, he sold that company about 10 years ago for $650 million. He spent the next 5.5 years building that house. Oh my gosh, why does it take so long to build these mansions? Well, remember, we had these little things in South Florida called hurricanes. So if you want your house to withstand a Category 5 hurricane, it takes 5 years to build it, or unless the people get paid by the hour. That's what they tell you. So obviously they got to make money too. They got to put their kids through college. So we're going to see a lot of these Cat 5 mansions out here today. One of them is to your right. Is the one that's got the arches and the purple flowers on the trellis. That's a perfect example. Cat 5 mansion owned by Wayne Jones from Blvd, Michigan. He sells auto parts to the Ford Motor Company. He used to come out and yell at us when we came by the boat. He'd go, my house can withstand a direct strike from a Category 5 storm. Yes, sir, that might be true, but 2 months after he moved in, that house would not survive a direct strike from a Category 5 divorce. And so you had to sell it. Comes through, and the next thing, that is Aunt Bonnie. I'm not kidding, that's her name. Aunt Bonnie lives next door. Bonnie Huizinga actually is the sister of H. Wayne Huizinga. She watched her brother create Waste Management and become the richest trash hauler in the state of Florida. She's Harris Hudson, her husband, and her had 2 kids. Her son Steven used to live in the house to your right with the diamond shapes on the seawall. Let's talk about little Stevie. This kid doesn't have to work a day in his life. There's no mowing lawns, there's no delivering newspapers, working at Chick-fil-A. That was my resume, by the way. But no,
we're approaching downtown Fort Lauderdale.
Caught me off guard. Yeah, here to your right-hand side, where does this Wayne Huizinga live? Look to your right, there it is, the new airport terminal for the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. I'm kidding, it's a huge single-family house. I used to guess at the price. I don't have to guess anymore. There's the for sale sign. Guess what it's listed for? $50 million for that house. And I'm trying to make a point. When you have a house that's worth $50 million, it's actually hard to make it look like a house. It looks like a hospital wing or judges. It looks like anything but a house because it's so big and expensive. Huizinga never lived in the airport terminal, but he lived at that address. You see, we had a hurricane called Wilma in 2005. Room, you can see the Trotter exercise equipment inside. Next building, dining room, table set for 22. That's a big dining room. That used to be a house, now it's a dining room. Then you got the glass solarium. Can you all see that huge fireplace inside there? Do you know something? You can never use that fireplace. Never, ever use that fireplace here. Why? It's too hot. Way too hot to have a fireplace here. Trim on the outside of Bell Tower. Mr. H. Wayne Huizinga lived here from 2006 to 2018. Harry Potter Mansion we're passing by over there. Harry Potter's a fictional character. He never lived there, but Wayne Huizinga, not a fan of Harry Potter. His niece Holly, the daughter of Aunt Bonnie, the sister to little Stevie, big fan of Harry Potter, so basically Wayne got the folks at Universal Studios to help build the house so he could give his favorite niece on the day of her wedding a $22 million starter home for the newlywed couple. makes me ask you the question, what's your favorite Uncle Pete?
Wow.
Toaster.
Very
Looking
modern,
to your right,
very
we have
pretty
two
house.
Airbnbs coming up right next to each other. First one rents for $22,000 a week. That's why it's empty, because it's the slow season right now. Club, you walk in there, you have dinner. It feels like the Rat Pack used to hang out there. You know, cool joint, right? Now he's also the creator of Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza, and here he is right to your left with the 4 Adirondack chairs on. Wait. Yeah, that's 4. Okay, yeah, that's 4 Adirondack chairs. They have to have that shape, you know, making sure that third one was right. So he created Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza, but he sold it to BurgerFi. Brilliant idea. Every time BurgerFi opens a new Anthony's, they give him a check to use the name, right? This many terms as the mayor of the city of Fort Lauderdale, and you're looking at my fingers going, oh my God, 6 terms, really? If I tell people he served 6 terms as mayor, you know what everybody asks me? Same question. Oh my God, how old is he?
This is the Riverside Hotel.
We used to come by. We were watching them build the hotel in the old days. They got a great restaurant here on the water called the Boathouse at the Riverside Hotel. Feel free to wave at these folks. Hello, Boathouse. You having a nice lunch today? Hello. So they usually wave back at us, but they're too pioneer Frank Stranahan as a trading post with the Seminole Indians and an overnight station for the stagecoach line, which used to run from Lake Worth down to all this in front of us. This was an actual jungle at one time, and I want to give you a visual kind of picture in your head. So think like a tree tunnel. You ever driven into a tree tunnel before and it gets really dark and you got to turn on the headlights because it's really dark? So this is a tree tunnel, but in a jungle, the trees would grow about 3 feet from the water's surface. On the right-hand side is a wonderful painting that illustrates everything I just showed you. So you'll see the 2 Seminoles in one boat, the one with the pole. The other canoes have been emptied, but there's one canoe with a bag of trinkets in it, and at the opposite end of that canoe is a rock. And I don't know how this happened. Was the artist that much of an OCD person that they had to paint the rock? Did somebody look at the painting when it was done and said, hey, artist, you forgot the rock? Well, hang on, let me go get my gray paint and put the rock in there. But they literally put the rock in that painting, and if they didn't put that rock in that painting, I would not have known that that's how they did it. Very cool. How is the one person holding the pole, though? So you see the pole, yeah, you saw the pole and the paddle, that's pretty cool. I didn't have to read a book, I just looked at that painting. I figured out that's how you already the oldest hotel in Fort Lauderdale, the Riverside. So I'm going to show you now, juxtaposition, the largest hotel in Fort Lauderdale. I know this to be true. Last night, over 1,000 guests stayed in that hotel. Free of charge.
Wow.
Hotels, you get free blast there. That wasn't supposed to be a WeWork space, kind of a WeWork kind of space, live work, you know, kind of thing. I don't know what it's called, but I know you go in there and you rent that. Working is what it's called. There you go. Working, not WeWork. They went out of business, I think. But that was supposed to be a grand 3-story restaurant. You might have heard of it, called Morton's the Steakhouse. You know, it's a chain. So they actually built the building. That was done, but it was an empty shell. The guy who was going to run the Morton's came down, look at the space. He's like, oh my God, this is fantastic. He goes, what's that across the water over there? They go, oh, that's the jail. And he turned around and he walked out. And they opened the Morton's on Broward and US 1, where your view is not the jail, it's view of the traffic. You can see there, watch the cars going through. But we are about to have a landmark restaurant like we're supposed to have right here. So this to your right was a city park called Huizinga Plaza. Gee, I wonder who gave them the land. Yeah, it was Huizinga. So they're building a 3-story restaurant here. It's going to be called Sweetwater's. Think 26,000 square feet, operated by the folks who own the Rusty Pelican in Miami. Now, what's the Rusty Pelican? You remember Caddyshack? You remember that scene with Rodney Dangerfield driving that boat and he, rams into the judge's boat and stuff and sinks it? Yeah, that's the Rusty Pelican. So it's a landmark, great restaurant. I love the Rusty Pelican. I do not enjoy the hour-and-a-half drive to get there from here. So you can see, and they're going to build something else here. I don't know what. But we have 2 more restaurants recently closed. One was called Matchbox, and the one next door, Big Buns Burger Company, also owned by Thompson Hospitality up in Washington, D.C. The guy who runs Thompson said, and I quote, "If I had known the parking was going to be an issue, I would not have signed a lease." Now, I went to that burger place twice. The first time I paid $23 to park. The second time I paid $28 to park. That was the last time I went there. The burgers were good, but they ain't worth the $30 parking charge. So we're spinning around right here because, believe it or not, this railroad bridge is getting ready to come down in about 6 minutes. It turns red about 2 minutes right before they close. If we go through, we're going to get stuck on the other side. So I've got some really good news. When we turn around, we're going to have a nice breeze because we're going to be going that way into the wind, and the breeze is going to pick up. So it's going to be a perfect chance to take a break for me and for you. If you want to refresh your cocktail, talk to Parker at the bar, where we're eventually going to move it back into that area. It's called Marina Village. So they have a sushi place, they have a taco place. We do know today the burger place is open because, you know, we had 2 people from the last trip who went over.
This is amazing.
And sometimes they're frozen, something like that, or, you know, they just formed the patty. They hand form the sliders over. 3 sliders are $8, 1 slider is like $2.
Part 2 of the tour is going to be in 15 minutes. Wow, this is pretty amazing. That sign says Stranahan Landing. This is very peaceful and relaxing. This is a sailboat. This house is inspired by Harry Potter. Oh yeah, that looks like Hogwarts. Look at this house, kind of southwestern inspired. Has this kind of island here in the middle, the pool. Very cool. Wow, did you see the size of that house? A lot of these houses are doing like you see here with the AstroTurf, which is fake grass, so they don't have to bother with maintaining it, you know, getting lawn guys and stuff like that. It just looks nice all the time. So you see you've got these red signs and green signs.
All right, folks. Looks like everybody's settled, ready for part 2 of the tour.
My dad used to tell me, red, right, return. When you're trying to return back to where you came from, you stay to the right of the red. See how we're staying to the right of the red?
The social pattern of South Florida right there. Oldest yacht club in town and in the area, built in 1938. And they're actually the most expensive to join in the area too as well. There's several of the yacht clubs that are not that expensive. This one is the most expensive. I'm actually a member of their email list because that was free. Sign out, there you go. Thing in my brain that to be a member of the yacht club you don't have to have a yacht because not enough room. You just have to bring them, you know, yachts and yachts of money, and then let you join. Now the way I know what the fees used to be, I was working on a boat about 20 years ago, and the owner was going through the hoops, as I call them, to try to join this yacht club. He eventually succeeded. It took him about a year, and so the first step is you have to be sponsored by an existing member, and they vet you over a period of time, and you have to turn in like financials and stuff to make sure, you know, before they take you on, make sure you can pay the bills and stuff. A gift card. I got an Olive Garden gift card and it expires in 2 weeks for $100. Guess where we're going to lunch tomorrow? Hope you like breadsticks. So that's the same kind of thing. It's like having 4 sweatshirts. I've never worn those sweatshirts because it's Florida. I don't need a sweatshirt down here, but that's how I ended up with 4 sweatshirts from the Lauderdale Yacht Club, because he still did not spend all the money because he's just, you know, oh, hey folks, have a little party over there. know what kind of party that is. It's like a Texas party or something like that. What's that flag? Is that Texas? I don't know. This is Lauderdale Marina to your right-hand side. There's somebody attempting to tie up their boat. Look, it's pretty hilarious. They don't know how to tie up their boat. The current's just carrying it. What do we do now? I don't know. Let's get this line here and put this line over. That's not how you dock a boat, just say that. Lauderdale Marina, that's the oldest working marina in Fort Lauderdale. Did you guys see there's a restaurant there? It's called the 15th Street Fisheries. I'm going to let you in a little secret. When I have friends and family from out of town who have never been here before, I take them there first for lunch. And good news, it's on the way from, because I pick them up at the airport and I'm like, you guys hungry? We're starved. That's always the same answer because they've been eating that airport food, for the last 8 hours. We're starved. So I take them there. The food's good. It's plentiful. It's affordably priced. In the restaurant, they have these fish. They're called tarpon. They're about 6 feet long, and they swim around in the water under your table while you're having lunch. So it's really cool for people out of town to see that for the first time, feeding tarpon. I've been asked this before. Is there like a fence or something that keeps the tarpon from escaping? I'm like, no. You see a tarpon. They can be 6 feet long. They can grow. They can live to be 100 years old. They're very, very smart fish, which makes them what? Lazy and opportunistic. And everybody feeds them, so they stay there. And they don't go like ducks. Ducks are not the smartest birds in the world, but if you feed them, they ain't going anywhere. They're not going to migrate anymore. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Port Everglades. We are actually, believe it or not, we're one of the top 3 busiest cruise ports in the world. The reason it looks the way it does, because this was man-made, and you can tell by looking at it. It's all rectangular. It doesn't look natural. It looks man-made. But what I'm amazed about with the engineering is in 1928, they built a port that still to this day can host the largest cruise ships in the world. And they dock right up ahead and to your right where that blue and orange crane is. That's Terminal 18, and that's the terminal that hosted the Oasis, the Allure of the Seas, the 2 world's largest cruise ships when they debuted in this port just a couple years ago. Now, right now, let me explain about the cruise ships. They're everywhere else. They're in the Mediterranean. They're cruising around the tip of South America. Cruises all winter long. Do not underestimate the drawing power. Lauderdale, Barbados, exactly, Bridgetown. Bridgetown, Barbados. You're going to stop there too as well. But here's the crazy thing. You can get on that ship here in Fort Lauderdale. As long as it comes back to Fort Lauderdale, you don't need a passport. We're leaving from Boston, going to Fort Lauderdale, and going through Bermuda. And Bermuda wanted a passport, so I had to get it renewed. So basically, a Spanish company. Yes, the name of that is Blvd. So remember that, Blvd. Blvd Caribbean is a Spanish company. Now, Blvd, the name comes from the Spanish islands. It's actually the Mediterranean. They call the Balearic Islands. And there's a big one called Mallorca, Palma de Mallorca. And then there's a little one called Menorca. And then there's a third one that I can't remember the name of. But what I'm getting at, those ferries run from Barcelona to the Balearic Islands. That's how they got the name Blvd. Port Station, Fort Lauderdale to your right. Now the next building, this is Nova Southeastern, the building with the sails on it, Nova Southeastern University Oceanographic Research Center. First thing I got to tell you, that is a postgraduate research facility. So if you go tomorrow and you sign up for classes, you don't get to go there. you got to graduate first with a degree in oceanography and marine biology. Then they let you go there. Now there's a guy who put his signature on the outside of the building. Let's see if we can see it. Can you see it? Yeah, there it is. His name is Guy Harvey. And of course, you might be familiar with his hats, his t-shirts, his belts, his shorts. So people don't realize this about Guy Harvey. He has his doctorate in marine biology. He is actually Dr. Guy Harvey. Each other, and they say no, and they both die. So that's what they're testing, ways to help regrow the coral reefs. Oh my God, I can't believe how beautiful the ocean is out here today. So a couple things that happen. Winds are changing. So when we had west winds, it laid the ocean swells down and made it very calm. Past couple days, we're referring to the ocean as Lake Atlantic. Got some really bad news for you. If you see an island, you've made too many trips to the bar. The most you can see on a clear day from the second deck of this boat is approximately 3 miles. So that's your, after that curvature, the earth applies. You can't see Bimini. Since we're going so far out, we're not going to the ocean, we're going to turn before the end of the jetties, but we might get to I'm smelling it. You'll smell the beaches from here. This to your right is owned by the U.S. Navy. I find it fascinating. You might not. I don't know. I'm going to just tell you about it. So you see all those spools over there with all the cables on them? You might see them here. I can see them from here. I'm standing up. But what they do is they run these cables from that tower out to the ocean, and they have a range that's about 3 miles long. These are acoustic listening cables. Anyway, we're going to tell you about the range there. The reason that range is possible, folks, is the fact that when you go out to our ocean, I don't know if you've been out at our beaches here and you walk out a little bit and all of a sudden it drops off really fast because the shelf is very short. So you go out here offshore, this is why our fishing is so good, because you usually have to go into really deep water to catch like swordfish and stuff like that. But you go out here like a couple miles and you're in 800 feet of water. So
look at that house.
But you should look at it on an aerial view and you see all these canals. So the water comes turn, the water has to make lessens that energy of that storm surge. I'm not saying it's foolproof. I'm saying it helps a little bit. So our shape of our shoreline, and again, our crazy canals, they do actually help to spread the storm surge out a little bit. So you do get a storm surge here, but what they predict and what we get is usually two different things. The thing I hate, speaking of that, you ever seen the Weather Channel and they got that new animation? Here's what it looks like when the storm surge comes. They show this like wall of water. They always talk about the wall of water, and then it never happens. And then it creates complacency because they talk about it and it doesn't happen. And then people are like, yeah, I've never seen the wall of water. I've seen flooding before. I did hurricane. Can't remember which one it was. I was up in Virginia. I can't remember what the name of it was, but I was in a house and there was water, there's a creek on like 3 sides. I watched it come up to the convention center. The worst thing in the world. You go and you do a convention, you're standing at the table, 4 o'clock rolls around, your feet are tired, you're exhausted, you've been talking to people all day long, and now you have to stand outside in this oppressive heat and wait for an Uber to take you to your hotel 45 minutes away. So yeah, now you walk down the hall, go up the elevator, crash in your bed. It's a beautiful thing. Head up us over to your right. Do you see the boat with the 10 on the back? So this is owned by the folks that own It's a 10 hair care products. I use them all the time. It gives me that lustrous glow on what little hair I have left. No, I'm kidding. I don't ever use that. But anyway, I heard it's really good stuff. Everybody that uses it says it's really good stuff. That's not important right now. What's important is Captain Sandy from the TV show Below Deck Mediterranean was married on the top deck of that yacht just a couple days ago. Yeah, sure, why not? Is what she said. So there you go. Again, Captain Sandy got married on the top deck there. That will be open to the public to your left when all this is done. You can park under the bridge, come out here, sit under the tree, and watch the cruise ships leave. So I'm really looking forward to that because that's an underutilized piece of property. It's been vacant for years, and now they're finally doing something with it, and I can't be happier about that.
That is going to be a park.
Let me tell you the story. You know what? You can use my yacht, but you got to change the name. I don't want you to give me a bad reputation. So here's the thing that happened. After Below Deck came out, the yachts that appeared in the show suddenly were getting more money when they sold. So it actually became kind of a good thing for it to be on Below Deck. Crooked trees. You see the original trees are straight up and down, and the new trees with the 2x4s are all crooked. Apparently, that would just really mess with my OCD. But the White House faces northwest. Wonderful crowd on board here. As I tell people all the time, I'll take quality over quantity any day. I'd love to have a full boat to talk to, but it's the slow time. It is what it is. And thank you for being a receptive audience. Let's do some bonus houses for you real quick. There's a house to your right. It's got a boat on a boat lift with American flag flying, 2 stories, cream, twin white peak roofs. Now, that used to belong to Dr. Walter Compton, whose name means nothing to you, but he invented Alka-Seltzer back in the day, Compton Laboratories. 2 houses down from that one, there is the flat roof split level house. You see that one? That's a very unusual style in Fort Lauderdale. Why? Because we don't have hills, so we don't need split levels. But if you have enough money and you tell the designer you want a split level, guess what you get? You get a split level. So she looks amazing for her age. Her doctors do really good work. I'll test it for you. I'll test it, let you know how it works. There's another story behind that. I mean, I don't know. It's like, so I don't know if you know this. The original dosage, recommended dosage of Alka-Seltzer, 1 tablet. You know, you take the tablet, you put it in the water, drink it, feel better, burp, you know, that sort of thing. But there was a ad guy, goes to the folks at Compton Laboratory. He says, I am the best ad guy in the world. I'm going to double your sales in 1 year's time. And they say, well, okay, what's your price? He goes, $5 million. He says, you double our sales in 1 year's time, you got your $5 million. And so he wrote the jingle, plop, plop, fizz, fizz, oh, what a relief it is. And yeah, because it's the dosage is 1, but you can take 6. It doesn't matter, you're just going to burp more, as they can't overdose on Alka-Seltzer. So he made the dosage 2, and they put 2 in a tablet, and he doubled their sales, and he got his $5 million. True story. Management, and that means OPM, other people's money. Now, he has a couple life's passions. He basically donates a lot of money to no-kill animal shelters. That's not too weird. This is the one where they're doing the photo shoot. So let's check this out. Hang on. She's in her costume. They're going to take pictures of her. I don't know. I guess that's a costume. Hello, how you doing? Music Garden. That's another lot. And then there's a guest house on a 5th lot. 5 lots. If you separate all those lots, tear down everything there, build 5 houses, you can get a minimum of 20 to 25 million apiece. So you're looking at, you know, $100 million bucks, just like that. 20 million. Ring system, tick, 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 like a hydraulic lift for your car, and it locks it in place. So what you do is you go in there, it's not strong enough to pick it up, but what you do is you jack it up at like high tide, right? And then the tide falls, and now it's just sitting there on those spud poles right now. I'm not sure about its construction. Looks to be aluminum maybe, or thing I'm concerned with in hurricanes are all those windows. I'm not sure if they're impact or not, but it's the wrong market for it. If you put that thing in Lake Havasu, Arizona, ooh, how much you want for it? I'll take it. You know, you need someplace calm in a lake, somewhere like that. I'm not sure if it's built. I'm not sure if it's built for the salt water. I definitely wouldn't take it in the ocean. You know, that sort of thing. With us, did y'all have a good time?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Hope you had a wonderful time with us here on the world famous Jungle Queen. If you've enjoyed my part of the tour, my name is Seaton, and if you want to show me any love or appreciation, if you know what I mean, you know, like tips and gratuities are greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for those. I'm gonna meet you downstairs at the gangway. I gotta help tie up the boat and put the gangway on and get you all set, and we'll call you down, and it's gonna be back to the dock and of course back to reality in just a few minutes. Let me leave you with a parting thought as you walk around the streets of Fort Lauderdale tonight. If you're here tonight, when you walk around those streets, you notice something very strange about our city. Our streets are not very well lit, but you can bet most of the drivers are. So that being said, be careful out there, drive safe, look both ways before you cross the street. And
Whew, that was awesome. Bye, Jungle Queen.
bye guys, have a great afternoon.
What did you learn today?
Adventurous Kids.
Adventurous Kids.
What was the most interesting fact?
Adventurous Kids.
Adventurous Kids.
Adventurous